Hi, I'm Jay Calderin. I am the founder and executive director of Boston Fashion Week, and I wanted to welcome you to Boston Fashion Week's Fashion School Night. It's our virtual red carpet introduction to a menu of online fashion content created by fashion design students from the School of Fashion Design. Tonight, we have another great team assembled. Elisha Daniels, Jane Conway-Caspe, Daniel Faucher, and Evelyn Reyes Beato. And I can't, I have to pause there when I'm introducing Evelyn, because Evelyn is going to be my cohort in crime here with asking questions, and she has been here all week. And thank you, Evelyn. We're all here to kind of reflect on how important it is to come together as a community, to nurture new talent, and to give you some insights about what you're going to watch from SFD. So now I would like to invite our guests to tell you a little bit about the work that they're doing right now. So how are you in fashion? So I'd like to start off with Elisha. So if you could kind of tell us a little bit about how you're in fashion.
Sure. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Boston Fashion Week. This is so exciting. And thank you so much, Jay, for having me. I've been a huge fan of you and Boston Fashion Week for many years, and you've done incredible things in this community for young students and young people in general, getting them into design. And it's amazing. I think what they've learned here, they probably take with themselves all over the world. So I'm thrilled to be part of it. So I'm a stylist and a designer. I'm old, so I've been doing this a very long time. I've done a little bit of everything in this business, from design to merchandising, for wholesale, retail, and most recently, for the last few years, I've been strictly styling private clients myself. I've really had to pivot in this new world that we live in with COVID. I wasn't really sure how I was going to pivot my business, but I have, so we can talk about that. And I've also pivoted into interior design. I'm actually working on a client's redoing a bedroom, bathroom, and closet in a client's new home as we speak. So that's been a really fun project that I've kind of thrown myself into. So it's a new world, so you have to take new chances.
Yes, yes, it's very true.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, and Jane, can you tell us a little bit about your place in the fashion world here in Boston?
Sure, I'd love to. And thank you so much for having me, Jay. I'm so happy and so excited for tonight. So I've worked in the fashion industry in Boston for almost 40 years. And I started out as a model, and that's I still continue to do so. And I've been affiliated with the school for a very long time. I've been on the board for a number of years and a representative for the school. I also have a series of fashion shows, which at this moment are on hold, but hoping to get those back up and running soon. And my focus for this shows is to showcase local talent. We have an amazing group of young designers who, if they just get their work out there and people see it, they're absolutely just blown away by their work. We're so lucky with the talent that we have in the Boston area.
Those are great shows. Those are great shows. And Daniel?
Hi, Jay. Thank you so much for having me as part of this evening's festivities. I have worked in the Boston fashion community for longer than Jane, even. Well past 40 now, well past 40 years. And I have been designing under my own label for 35 of those years. And I design women's special occasion apparel here in Boston, cocktail and evening and bridal wear, which, as you can imagine, has screeched to a halt mid-March. And it's been an interesting turn of events since then. I've been an instructor at the School of Fashion Design also for over 30 years now. And that also has taken on a new importance and a new way of doing things. So it's been a pretty interesting spring and summer, and seems to continue to be as this drags on and affects more and more people. And so we have seen, again, an entire season disappear overnight. But again, life goes on, and life's adventures and life's events go on, and people have continued to get married just in a different way. People have continued to celebrate milestones in life in a different way. People have continued to raise money and charity and fundraise for different charities, but in a slightly different way. So we've tried to be a part of it, and from making masks to supplying events or dresses for people to wear at different events, etc., whether it's for charity purposes or for celebrating those special events in a different way.
Very cool. And Evelyn?
Hi, everyone. I am Evelyn Reyes Beato. I am Jay's co-host tonight, and I'm also a volunteer for Boston Fashion Week. I am a lover of pizza and fashion. I am a fashion certificate 2020 graduate of Mass Art. I am also a teaching assistant at Mass Art with Global Fashion History. I am a professional model with Maggie. I'm a full-time executive assistant. And during COVID, I've been organizing my junk jars and my linen closet.
So you have plenty of time to
Yeah.
be on the recall this week. Thank you so much. So I wanted to get started with our industry professionals, our VIPs that we invited to be here with us tonight, because I think it's important. You know, we're going to hear about the school and from faculty, and then we're going to see the videos. But part of this whole process has been bringing industry professionals and our students and the schools together over the summer to prepare for this. And I wanted to take a little time at the beginning of each evening to explore basically how professionals are pivoting and adjusting to all of this and staying creative. So Elisha, you alluded to it a little earlier. Can you tell us a little bit about, I know we had a conversation once about your styling and how that's changed, and maybe some other things for you, but if you can explain again professionally how you started to pivot during this time, how you adapt.
Yeah, it's I think probably we're all in the same boat, no matter what you do or in what genre of fashion you're in. I think when COVID first hit and we first all went into lockdown, I think I was just completely frozen. Like, how is this going to work again, and how can I just salvage and remake my business? And I think once we were able to take a few deep breaths and wrap our brains around this, it was really became for me about what do my clients need now? That is what I do. I make my clients feel good about themselves. I help them get ready for those big events in their life. And it could be a wedding or a gala or just a new season's wardrobe. So what do people need when everyone's sitting at home and no one's going out and there's nowhere to go and there's not a wedding and there's not a charity event and you're not even going out for cocktails with your girlfriends? It's just, so, that was my first thought process. And I really just, so much of my business was evening wear and event driven business that I had to completely backpedal from that. And I think, the one thing about us gals is we still like a pretty something, no matter what it is. If it's
tell it, that's true.
It's a piece of jewelry or a bag or a pair of shoes, or we're all on Zoom, so we all have to look good from the waist up.
Yeah.
So those kind of things is where I put my mind. Yeah. And the summer was tough because people really were just going to the beach and nobody really needed anything. But fall has really picked up in terms of people buying and shopping, and they're not looking for the same things they were looking for a year ago, but they're looking for new things. And so I've just kind of had to pivot with what I put in front of my clients now versus a year ago. And I pivoted into doing, some interior design for my clients. Everyone's spending so much time at home and they needed refreshing. And, I just, it's something I've always loved and dabbled with, interiors anyway. And I love fabrics, and I did a huge a whole renovation of my own at home. So I'm an actual pro at it now. So I just kind of, I've pivoted what my clients' needs are. I basically is what I've done, Jay. You know, I think we all have to listen to, in this business, we have to listen to the consumer and what do they want? What are they looking for? And where has the world, how has the world changed the way we live? And, you know, I just kind of, I'm trying to get in front of that. So it's not always easy, but.
It is not always easy. And you say you've pivoted. Now, how have you been giving your clients the actual service? Are you social distancing? Are you utilizing technology?
I am, yes. I'm utilizing technology, which is not my favorite thing. Like Zoom is not my favorite thing, but I actually have a few clients who I have actually gone into showrooms and to stores with. But it's, you know, it's all very careful. It's all very structured, but I've been doing a lot of virtual, you know, events on Zoom. Like for instance, I did an event with Tommy Hilfiger and his wife. I've done an event with Michael Kors, who I do a lot of business with. And we're literally just doing, you know, video decks and showing the collection to, you know, small groups of clients at a time, like kind of like what we're doing right now. And it's been great and it's been fun. And, you know, it's not the same. It's definitely not the same. But, you know, everybody likes interacting with everyone and, oh, I love this, but I couldn't wear that. And it's sort of like being in Danny's showroom a little bit, you know, I mean, you know, if you get a group of gals together. So, and it's been very successful for me. So yeah, I mean, honestly, it's like I can do my business. Part of what I love about my business is I love being in a showroom. I love being in a store. I love looking at product. I love trying it on because I love stuff and I love to touch it and feel it and see how it fits. And so this is hard for me, you know, on virtual, but it's better than nothing.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, so yeah, so it has changed a lot and technology is vital.
I think it's so important that, I mean, especially for the students watching, because again, we have a big student audience this year, is this idea that, you know, because the thing that a lot of people don't realize is that as a student, they don't have the experience to back up the confidence to move forward, you know, because like we know what we've done, we know we can kind of figure out another way of doing it, like you're saying, and that we need to make it move forward. And I think when students started hearing about, I mean, you know, when all this started happening and things started to disappear for them, they didn't see an alternative because they hadn't done it before. So thank you so much for sharing that, because I think it's really nice to hear from a professional that yes, they're having the same issues, but there is forward, you know, there's a way forward.
Yeah.
You know, speaking about the students, Jane has been a real champion of students for a long time, not just at the school, but just with the shows at the Boston Public Library and before that with Maryland. I just wanted to kind of ask you, what's your passion behind that? Why do you think that's important for, because you know, we're professionals in the industry and you know, we've got work to do, you know, so like why do you think that's important to do?
I think it's so important because we're incredibly blessed with the talent that we have locally. And I've seen it over, you know, almost 40 years now, being affiliated with the school, and a lot of the designers who have graduated. You know, it's just amazing what we have in Boston. And I've always thought, you know, from working with Marilyn, her motto was to always get them exposure, get them out there, and once everyone sees them, they'll get, you know, they'll get acknowledged for how talented they are.
I don't want to interrupt, but you have to tell us, for those, again, a lot of our students don't know Marilyn.
Right.
So she's not with us anymore, but I was wondering if you could just tell us a little bit about Marilyn, just a little.
Oh, sure. She is an amazing woman, a fashion icon in Boston who owns several stores on Newbury Street and produced numerous I can't even tell you how many fashion shows over the years and events. And she was just a force to be reckoned with. She had such a signature style, anyone who saw her would never forget her look. She just had this way about just creating this persona for herself. And she even, she really had a tough personality, but the people that she supported and loved, she was always there for, backed them like the entire time, just, and loved them and everything about what they did. And even as with the strength that she had in the community, she always would take the time to listen to new up and coming designers, listen to, what they were doing, wanting to see their work. She would buy pieces from them. Even, she would buy like from the most expensive boutiques all over the world. But if she saw a designer in Boston locally that she liked what they did, she would buy them and wear them proudly, the designs that they wore. So that always made such a huge impression on me, to, give everyone a chance, give every designer has to have a chance to get their work out there. It's the only way that they'll get recognized.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, and Elisha, how do you, what kind of things do you think are important to do when it comes to nurturing this young talent? Like, in terms of kind of showing up for students.
Yeah, I think it's so important. And one of the things I think is so important is, giving students an opportunity to be out as much in the real world as possible in terms of showing their collections, getting as much hands-on experience as they possibly can. So they're not frightened of situations like we're in now. And they, are learning, the way the next generation is going to run fashion, design, fashion businesses, is completely different to the way we did, because they're coming up in this time that is completely helter-skelter, but they're going to figure it out. And fashion is not going to be about, look at all the runway shows this month, Paris, New York, Milan, it was all done basically virtually. And I think, even, please God, when we have a vaccine and we all go back to somewhat of a normal life, I think some of these things will now never go away. Does everyone really have to get on a plane and travel all over the world twice a year to see, the collections? No. We all have the best seat in the house to I just think the way that the fashion business, that the business of fashion, is run from now on is going to be very, very different. And I think these students that are in school now are like on the front lines of that. So it's very exciting time to be a young person, to be a student.
I agree on all those points.
I think that the whole idea of turning this around and realizing that we're being armed with all these new tools, like this week, we've already had, as part of the programming, a whole thing in virtual reality where a designer was designing in VR, and it was this all quote unquote another universe, and you experience it with them. So really amazing. And then we just did something with Hoverlay in terms of augmented reality, where you can see, images in your home, fashion images. So there's all this new stuff. But I want to now kind of pivot, if you will, to
that's been the COVID word, pivot.
The key word.
That's what we're all doing, pivoting all around.
all around. But I want to talk a little bit to Daniel about the students. So what was the initial response to all of this? Because some people could just feel like they can shut down. Some people want to move forward. Some people get angry. Some people get sad. How did you feel your students responding? Because you were going through it too as a educator and as a designer. But what was that like when that happened? Like that transition in school.
Just happened so quickly for all of us, but especially for the students. And I think one of the biggest problems is that our resources ended. Our ability to get our paper, our muslin, our masking tape, I mean, all the things that we use on a daily basis, not to mention fabric. You know, anybody who works in Boston knows how different our city is from other cities, especially recently. There aren't outlets for us or fabric stores to even shop in. So a trip to New York is pretty normal for a student here in Boston, and everything was shut down. And so even if they had designs in mind, everything grounded to a halt. And I think the other thing that happened that we sort of discounted, especially I think as instructors, but also as designers, is just the anxiety we were all going through shuts you down in certain ways. And in many ways, in a lot of our students, I saw a lot of them just shut down their creativity, which for me, I had the opposite reaction. I started thinking about, well, what did you do years ago when you didn't have a television in the studio or a computer to watch YouTube videos? What did you do? And I literally was finding myself reading again, historical novels, sketching again on a regular basis, just for the heck of sketching. I started looking under the table instead of searching for new fabrics, and found beautiful fabrics here in the studio.
What designer doesn't have a lifetime of fabric saved up?
Yeah. It inspired me to be creative. And I had spoken to Elisha about this because I ran into her on the street. I was finding myself by, say, 11 or 12 in a normal day for me that starts at 6, that by 11 or 12, I was so frustrated, both with what was happening to my business, in my community, and my teaching, etc. But I would literally get frustrated and grab a bike and go for a ride in the afternoon, something I haven't done since I was 11 years old. But it was this change of scenery, change of pace. I'd come back and be so energized and so ready to be creative. Yeah. And I would make myself every day do something that would remind me of what I had done before. Even if I was making simple masks out of denim that week, I would stop and applique a lace sleeve just to do something creative. Right. So there's lots of half-finished projects laying around here, but they'll eventually turn into a dress. And every time I would post them, it was amazing to see the response. People are hungry, as Elisha said, people are hungry for that pretty thing. If you've lived your life treating yourself to pretty things, you're not going to stop. That's right. What I started remembering also was I grew up in the 60s and 70s, and my mother on Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights entertained at home and then would go out to dinner or a country club. And she wore at-home loungewear that was dressy. And I started thinking, I don't care if I'm making caftans. They're, lovely to make. Outfits. And there's got to be creative ways that we can think about giving our customers and our people who have purchased from us before that same feeling of satisfaction they get from trying on a 14-yard ball gown and silk file, but something that they can wear around their own house and sit and watch television and spend time with their families. That's what we're going to be doing.
Bring a little glamour home. So with the students, like when they realized they had an opportunity to actually show, but in a different way, did that change the dynamic? What did you feel happened there? And, because I was surprised at how many garments we had to show, like that there was a really impressive show to put on. So
I think it was quite interesting because I actually used it as sort of a bribe, and it really worked out well. You came along at a perfect time, because what I was hearing from them was, I'm not comfortable working on this myself. I'm used to having a twice a week check-in with my instructor. Right. I don't know how to apply elastic around the leg of a bathing suit. I haven't been shown yet. And it was interesting how they became creative, but we as instructors also became creative to try to show them, I literally was at my FedEx and UPS guy are smiling because they're very busy because we've been back and forth samples and, but it really helped to, I think the thought of being able to show this way, and as I said, it was a curated show and it wasn't guaranteed that it would be in the show, but the looks that came in from the students were so special and fantastic. I don't think we've eliminated anything that was submitted. I think we've used everything that was submitted.
Because what do you think? What are we going to see basically? Because you got to not only see all the pieces, but you helped kind of create the production for how it's going to be presented. Can you tell us a little bit about how it's going to be presented and what kind of looks are we going to see?
The school is obviously going through transitions, and although everything was eligible from last May when we did our last collection showing, what most students ended up showing were garments that they've worked on more recently. So I do think of things that I've seen in critiques or in presentations from students that I would have loved to have had in the show, but I wasn't going to browbeat anybody into getting it there. And I do think there's something, you know, as a designer, when you're handing something over to someone else to put a show together, I would never do it. You know, I really have to honestly honor these kids because they were, or these designers, because they were willing to literally drop off dresses and leave them in our hands. And I actually had started thinking about this when Jay and I first had a conversation months ago about how we would possibly do this. And I just really could see this happening on mannequins, but still have the feeling that our school show has. You know, as professional and clean as it can be, but definitely with those nuances and subtle touches that our students have as far as quality of workmanship and an eye for the drama, etc. Many of the garments are coming from the draping classes, and obviously special occasion is a specialty of mine, and I think students who take my classes at least try to do one special occasion dress while they're under my tutelage, but they're not required to. And so we had students who literally are showing garments that were made in their second semester here, actually their first semester here at the school. So I was
Danny, I would love to ask you a question about what is your favorite part of putting on a fashion show now as opposed to before, the way you've done fashion shows before, because there's got to be something there.
You've asked the wrong person. Jay, that's why Jay is laughing. I absolutely hate doing fashion. I absolutely hate doing them. They are so stressful. And for me, as a
even now,
yes, as a business, well, no,
beg him to do it.
I'll through them now, but they're just so stressful and so intense, and I just don't see I do for other people. I just don't see it for me. When I'm backstage at a fashion show and I see a beautiful new sample dress slung over the top of a rack, it breaks my heart, and I just can't get over it.
It's really funny because we've been doing this is 26 years, and Daniel, it's like I have to beg him to do a show during Fashion Week because.
I love an informal show. I love an informal tableside show that doesn't stress me. I love it. Absolutely love it. But a runway show. One of the great things about this year's quote unquote show is that because of the filming and because of how you could pay attention to the details, it's amazing. It's like it's a very intimate experience because you can really see the clothes close up and see it turn around and all these kind of wonderful things. So I think you did a great job. I got a sneak peek, so
sneak peek.
But it looks really great. So well, it's just about that time. So actually, there was one thing I wanted to add. In addition to the school show, some of our students, for different reasons, weren't able to be a part of the collective show. And I wanted to just do a little shout out to 3 students because each one of them did something really interesting and taught themselves how to do this because none of them have done it before. So we have Lydia Romanchuk, and she put together this movie with a story. She had her sister play music because, you know, music is an issue with rights and all that kind of stuff. She asked to shoot in different locations, and again, all really safe. So she did her project independently, and then Tuba Boydak is actually during the crisis actually went back to Turkey, and she created this beautiful video as well at home with her husband and I believe it's a family member who's modeling, and it was just amazing. Again, participating all the way from Turkey in Boston Fashion Week. And then this Elisabetta Polito was actually one of my former students in CAD art, so computer-aided design with Photoshop and Illustrator. And she actually took my class, but she's a teacher herself at the Boston Arts Academy. But she wanted to explore CAD art. and share it with her students, which is amazing. But she did such beautiful work, and I was so happy about it. And I have them design fabrics. So she designed fabrics, ordered fabrics, and did her clothes from her drawings in
Wow.
miniature and
Wow.
filmed. So I just had to call them all out because that was very special.
Jay,
Yes,
where can our viewers see these 3 videos from Tuba, Lydia,
Well,
and Elisabetta?
about to tell you.
Well, thank you, Jay.
Well, first, before I do that, I just wanted to thank all of you for being here and taking the time and looking so great. But we're going to get to the content now, and it's going to be really simple for anyone watching. You just need to be on the Boston Fashion Week website, which is bostonfashionweek.com. You'll see right at the top of the page, day 4, which is today, the 4th day of Fashion Week. You just click, and thank you. And then you click, and you can watch on that page all of the content. You can watch, the school show is broken up into Act 1 and Act 2, and then we have 3 videos. And we did a wonderful conversation with 3 alumni earlier today, which is on there too. So again, thank you so much for being a part of this tonight. You guys were amazing.
Thank you.
And I look forward to seeing you virtually throughout the
And
rest.
congratulations, Jay.
Yes, thank you for all you do.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you.